Hey everyone, welcome back to the RPGames YouTube channel. My name is Ralph. We're back with the life and suffering of Sir Brante. I'm 12 years old now and I overhear an important conversation. It's a spring night and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling. When isn't he yelling? When is he happy? This dude has a chip on his shoulder, it's not even funny. And Father is undergoing this verbal barrage and is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. Oh, that will be something. That lowlife idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg me for some service? He had the insolence to ask me outright? He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's seat in the lesser quorum? How dare he? Father, please listen. Mayor Egmont may be lowborn, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful. Should he become the chairman of the lesser quorum? I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. What he is, however, is lowborn. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash that Quorum Decree. That accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic creed. Now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax. Nothing more. That's only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? The Empire rejects the Foundation and the lots. The entire edifice will crumble. Who am I telling this to? It's already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you. I do not wish to marry a third time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you'd only allow her to, I will allow them nothing. Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? Can already see where this is going. I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlifes share the same rights. Oh my goodness. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book. That dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable El Brante. It's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stephan addressed in such a matter one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of El Brante. You have 2 more grandsons. Yeah, I would like to point out that I, Randolph Brante, am also here. Outside your window, eavesdropping. Those spineless milksops of the common lot? They're incapable of anything. The best your middle son could do is sneak into the Imperial College, get ennobled by the mantle, although I have grave doubts about even that. As for the downtrodden Nathan, I hold out no hope for him whatsoever. You hear grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane and the slamming on a door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. I gain a power, okay. Oh no, school begins. Started studying at the school of Sir Tibor and began to master the sciences. Man, boring. A storm of expectations. Finally the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. But before you can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asks you to come to his study. You've grown, my son. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. Sir Tibor's school for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it's not a boarding school for nobles, so you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. You share the news with your best friend Tommas. Sir Tibor's school, eh? Yeah, gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. The school is based in an ancient estate of Archnean design. The classrooms are tall and spacious with massive benches. The sounds of scraping squills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Oh boy. Restless Tommas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hands slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day, Father asks you about your studies. You've already told him twice how Magra joined the Empire and how the Noble's Court of Honor is different from the Commoner's Civil Court in the city prefecture. Father keeps pressuring you to work even harder. When it's time to go to bed, Mother will not let you go to sleep until you recite a newly learned prayer for her. When it's time to go to school, you promise her every day that you will behave with great humility, steer clear of insolent behavior of any kind, for you still live by the Commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. Your first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and the worst students in each subject. Father insists that you devote all your spare time to studying law and history if you wish to follow in his footsteps. When you speak to Mother every day, you start considering theology. You still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to you in your earliest years. You have only one more day until the exam. You have locked yourself away in your room. It's already getting late. I used to study like that actually, the day before the exam. All the way through the night until the morning. That's how I got my bachelor's degree. I don't know about you folks, but it worked for me. Your desk is covered with handwritten notes surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes you queasy. You have to read through all of them again, at least for one of your subjects. There's a nagging thought on your mind. Tommas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who lived next street. They heard about your wooden fortress and got in an outrage by the fortification built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Tommas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps you should abandon the books to rescue the friend in need. Oh no. But then you hear your little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still, staying speechless until either you speak first or he runs away. This time, he actually says something. The door is locked. You okay, Randolph? Is there anything I can do to help? Yeah, you can go to Tommas and help him defend the fort. Your head is spinning. This is the last evening before the school exam. If you fail, your family will be very disappointed. You have to refresh your memory on law or theology, either one or the other. But Tommas and your fort are about to be stormed. Why today of all days? You grind your teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door, trying not to bother you. He wants to help you the only way he can, for reasons known only to him. Will you accept his help? Okay, so we can focus on law and history. That will increase our relationships with our dad. It will give us +1 nobility. We can go help Tommas, which will give us +1 ingenuity and +1 relation with Tommas. We can study theology, which gives us +1 spirituality and +1 with our mom. Or we can spend a moment with Nathan, which will give us 10 willpower and +1 with Nathan. I am going to intently study the books of law and history. You push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help you prepare for the exam. Soon your eyes start to hurt from all the legal terms and chronologies and titles and imperial edicts. You repeat everything, every single line of it, until your head hurts and your vision begins to blur. When Father walks in, he chuckles in approval. You fall asleep right there, amidst the books. The morning comes. You barely have the time to wake up before you're walking to the menacing edifice of the school. Time for law. All the students stood still, glued to their benches in terror. The teacher's voice singles you out. Me? If a commoner insults a nobleman's honor, how ought he to be dealt with according to imperial law? Bring the commoner to the prefecture, where the judge will sentence him to corporal punishment. And what if a noble takes a commoner's life by negligence or whim? The noble is fined by the provincial authorities. Surprising even yourself, you give the correct answers to these questions and many more that follow. The next subject is the history of the Blessed Archnean Empire. You masterfully recount the history of every province as they merged with the Empire, from Monia to Magra. Then you recite the names of every tempest who has ruled the Empire. You conquer every question the teacher asks you without confusing a single date. I'm killing it! You get the highest grade in law and history and an average grade in theology. You relay the teacher's praise to father over dinner. He smiles, pleased with you. Well done, my son. I can see how hard you've been working. Keep at it. You will be among the Empire's greatest servants. I'm proud of you. Okay, my dad has affection for me. That's good. And I am now honorable. I do need to keep an eye on my willpower though, because I don't want to get in a situation again where I run out of willpower and then this important thing happens. Your education continues. As you study imperial law, you come to realize that there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. It seems your father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Archnean gentry. You return home with this information at your disposal. Father asks you about school after dinner, as he always does. What is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Randolph? You already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning that it's passed down from father to son. After the Archneans, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans in the Empire. They own land and estates, they fill offices at the highest ranks. The names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Blue Book. Nobility of the sword can only be granted only by the overseer of the province or the emperor himself. How are such eminent people addressed? With the honorific L before their last name, you respond, Sir Augustine L. Bourne, for example. Father pats you on the shoulder, clearly pleased. What about the Archneans and their status? What have you learned about them? The Archneans stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics, for the names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods somberly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Archnean tells you, never defy them. Ever. What about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? That's easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. This title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the Empire, in the Legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks you in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son. All in due time. That's what I'm gunning for. Sir Tibor's school teaches children of all stripes, nobles of the mantle, and low-born parents can send their sons here. Every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Diederik, the son of the secretary for the Imperial Chancellery and a self-important slob. The sons of noblemen never pick on you, however. They know that your father has been a noble by the mantle. However, Diederik and his retinue soon choose Tommas as their favorite victim. Time and time again you ask your friend not to pay them any mind, but again and again Tommas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. It's early morning, the students are busy flocking to the classroom for the next lesson. You wave Tommas over when you see him. He waves back at you, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it is the work of Diederik and his entourage. You hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Tommas clenches his fists. You're dead, Diederik. That's a threat. He throws himself at Diederik's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first as just what they expected, and they are free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pair of hands grab him at once. Diederik sneers and kicks your friend in the belly. Tommas gasps for air and starts coughing. You stand between them as Diederik readies another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why did you mingle with commoners? He asks. Your father is a noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. Behind him, 4 boys hold Tommas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching you, frozen in fear. Diederik haughtily extends a hand to you. He clearly expects you to shake it. Oh boy. What will I do? Challenge him to a fight, which is +1 nobility. Oh, look at that. Turn him over to the teachers, which is +1 ingenuity. Admonish the nobleman's son, +1 spirituality. And let's see, shake Diederik's hand, which gives us +1 reputation in the family, +1 with my dad, and -1 with Tommas. Why don't I just go for challenging the nobleman's son to single combat? Yeah, why not? Sounds like a noble thing to do. You do not shake his hand, instead you challenge Diederik to display at least some dignity by fighting you one-on-one. That is, if he considers himself a nobleman's son, of course. Diederik's face grows serious. There is no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Haha, I got you there. Diederik makes a sign and Tommas is released and pushed to the floor. He gets back on his feet, cursing and itching to rush at them again, but you hold your friend back. The teacher of Imperial Law comes into the room just in time. Everybody immediately returns to their seats. Day full of lessons begins. You keep daydreaming of Diederik's face and how you're going to put an end to that nasty smile of his. Let's sketch that bastard together. Clean as clock. He hurt me, not you. The deal has been made, you tell your friend. This is a matter of your honor now. Tommas huffs angrily but agrees. Diederik is already waiting for you in a narrow back street by the school, his retinue by his side. You work forward and give him an opportunity to end this dispute once and for all. This is the nobleman's way. If you win this battle, Diederik and the other children of nobles will never pick on the commoner's sons again. If he wins, you will never stand in their way and protect other students. You will fight him one-on-one. Diederik works forward uncertainly. You both roll up your sleeves. You raise your fists in a fighting stance. Diederik tries to copy your movements. You hit him first. Oh, he clearly has no idea what is going on here, so let's just kick his ass. Diederik does manage to land several glancing blows, but he's fighting a losing battle. It's never been a real street fight, not like me, not like Randolph Brante. I was trying to think of a cool nickname there, but I failed. Tommas nods in approval. You have learned a lot from him. It does not take long for Diederik to stop fighting back. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hands. You have won. You turn to the other nobleman's sons with a victorious look on your face. No more teasing. And if anyone else says so much as one bad word about Tommas, they'll pay. Diederik's former retinue disperses silently. Okay, so Tommas is sympathetic to us. And we are noble, how about that? We are on our way to becoming dignified. Forbidden love. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. Oh, cool. This is because I reached Nobility 4. Another day at school is behind you. You are now wandering your district, taking your time before going home. It's getting dark. Soon you're walking past the splendid mansion of Count El Velasco, one of Magra's richest landlords. You hear a familiar voice from the other side of the iron fence. It's Stephan's voice. It's followed by the sound of a young lady laughing. You peek through the fence and into the mansion's garden, and indeed, there you see your elder brother, dressed like he is going to meet the Emperor himself. He's currently busy helping a pretty young lady out of the window. She locks him in an emotional embrace. You recognize her, Maria El Velasco, Count El Velasco's daughter. As the whole city knows, she's already betrothed to another young nobleman from a far more illustrious family. Oh boy. Oh Maria, I thought I would help you come down to earth from your heavenly abode, but your very touch brings me to the heavens. Man. Was this Shakespeare, Brante? He picks the Count's daughter up and holds her in the air. She laughs, almost imperceptibly, kisses him on the cheek. Then Stephan takes her by the chin and turns her to face him. Their lips join in a kiss. A flurry of emotion washes over you as you watch it happen. Stephan is putting the reputation of his entire family at risk. Acting so frivolously with the Count's daughter may turn the Count's influence against all the Brantes, and yet Stephan always speaks so highly of noble bearing, composure, family honor. Stephan's face is glowing with joy. Your older brother, he's happy, truly happy. You've never seen Stephan like this, as his arms hold the Count's daughter in a tender embrace, so gently as though he fears to hurt her. And Maria reciprocates his feelings. Must you really rob them of their secret joy? If you ever speak to him about this, no one else must hear it. You wait by the gate patiently until Stephan decides to return from his escapades. He's startled when he finally notices you standing by the gate. So we can remind him what a nobleman's honor means. That's +1 nobility. And +1 to Stephan actually. Oh wow, really? And if we aid him... yeah, no, let's remind him. Let's remind him how he will disgrace the whole family. You fold your arms as you face your elder brother. He's confused to see you here. You speak to him openly. You know of his affair with Maria El Velasco. And Stephan should forget that young lady as soon as humanly possible. He freezes at these words. You keep talking. A noble cannot behave like this. Stephan is risking bringing shame on all the Brantes, and worse yet, he's defying his own lot. In his own words. His honor, Maria's honor, the family's honor, will all be harmed by his recklessness. How could Stephan have forgotten about this? How could he have let his emotions rule him? Why should you have to be the one to remind a born noble about this? You, who were born a commoner. Stephan frowns but lets you keep talking. You wait for his anger, but there is none. When you're finally done speaking, your brother stays quiet for a long moment and then sighs heavily. Yes indeed, you're right. I lost control of myself. Maria, I'm a madman in her presence. I forget the world when I'm with her. And I forget my duty to my lot and my family. I will part ways with Lady El Velasco and offer my apologies to her father. My brother, thank you. You've reminded me of who I am. From that day on, Stephan stops going out at night. His attitude towards you has changed too. He now looks at you with respect, as if he has finally come to see you as an equal. Even in his anger, he is now quick to recall your brave decision and stop himself. Okay, so we get a +1 rating in our relationships with our brother. And we get a +1 nobility. Here I come, noble lot. We're 13 years old now. Our theology teachers tell you more about Anizotti. It's more than just a provincial capital. It's also sacred place blessed by the gods. It is where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from that blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. You see its branches in the sky every day, but you never approach the trunk of the tree yourself. Today you will be taking a trip to the Silver Tree. Your class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to your theology teacher, you and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everybody's excited. Soon you and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anizotti. The roots are pulsating under your feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic, cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day laborers and preachers. People of the districts bow humbly to you, point you towards the temple. They seem at peace despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath the tree are filled with its divine grace, your teacher says. People come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Your class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves, the underground beating of the roots. The sky above you is obscured by the tree's canopy. You find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There's a crowd there. Pilgrims dressed in traveling clothes, paupers, beggars, common people of the city, and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upwards at the tree's branches. The tree impresses you with its might and calm emanating from it. You're filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about yourself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. You're distracted enough to fall back from the rest of your classmates. You notice a small path. It should take you right next to the trunk. A tall red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She's wearing a worn white robe. She's no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered in freckles. Her hands clutch a book. You've never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at you almost as if she has recognized a lifelong friend. She beckons to you and says her name, Matilde, a preacher from Astinia. What she says next shakes you to the very core. It's commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teachings of the twins, yet you will never follow the light of truth within the walls of the temple. Inside you will only find lies about the lots, the erring words of the prophet Isasius, sanctified by the passage of centuries, and anyone who sets out to read the accounts of the twins' own lives knows that they never so much as mentioned the lots. The red-haired preacher's words frighten you. They clash with everything you have heard from Mother, everything you have been taught at school. The lots are a lie? You freeze in fear. Should you argue with Matilda and ask her for more information? Or should you treat her as a mad woman and catch up with your classmates? You suddenly feel a small, warm hand grasp your own. You see a girl right next to you. She's just a little older than you, wearing a black dress, threadbare yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief, with only a single golden lock showing. Her brown eyes have burning rage, her hand pulling you away from the red-haired preacher. You stare in confusion at the strange young girl, your cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. It's just a bit of color on her cheeks too. Then she starts speaking to you quickly. Don't listen to her, she's dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth. You stand there, surrounded by the crowd of praying pilgrims and the sound of shuffling feet torn between two people you have never seen before, and each one of them expects you to follow her. All the while you hear the whispering of the wind in the tree's branches. The branches reach out to you, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to you itself. Can you hear its voice? Okay, so if we follow the girl into the temple, this gives matters of the heart, willpower -5, and we get acquainted with Jean. If we stay with the pilgrim, we get +1 spirituality, -1 to Jean. If we leave them and approach the tree, we get +10 willpower. And if we give in to the epiphany, we get +1 spirituality, we get the revelation of the tree. So we get one of the destinies. I think, to be honest, this would be a good moment to just Stock up on willpower. I don't think this is like the most important decision. And plus 10 willpower is very welcome for maybe later where we have to make really hard decisions. The tree is beautiful. The silver-white foliage stretches and spreads towards the sky, held aloft by a trunk so thick it would be a challenge to walk around it. The leaves rustle and whisper peacefully in the wind. The tree, it seems to speak to you. You walk away from the odd-looking preacher and the young acolyte, ignoring them as they call out to you. You walk around the temple and the crowd of people, getting closer to the tree with every step. Then you extend a shaking hand and touch the bark. It's unusually warm. You can feel a pulse beneath the roots. The tree is alive. Alive! The roots are so gigantic they form large grottos, spaces of air embraced by the roots in the ground. You squeeze into one of these grottos. It's unusually bright and quiet, shielded from the noise of Anisotti. Right now there's only you and the tree. You sit down. There are leaves rustling all around you. The only noise you hear is the beating pulse of life that flows through the tree. And this pulse beats in time with your own heart. You feel clarity and calmness, free of doubt and frustration. The tree speaks to you, or are they your own thoughts, so strange and familiar and eye-opening? These thoughts speak of soothing love, and of crystal clear law, and of love and law intertwining to bring the miracle of life to you. You stop slouching and your frown becomes a light smile. Hours pass like fleeting seconds. You lose track of time until you overhear someone shouting your name. Alas, it's time to leave this grotto. The sun is setting over Anisotti now. The day was quick to pass. Your teacher frowns, ready to scold you. You mumble an explanation and say you are ready to be punished for disobedience. Yet instead, the teacher nods in understanding. You keep looking back at the tree all the way home. Whatever happened to you today, you find it difficult to put into words. Another school day has ended. You're making your way home, still mulling over the things you learned from your teachers. The founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, the 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order the world has, and yet so mysterious. At least it sounds that way when your teachers talk about it. Mother is waiting for you on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees you, yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant Magran towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell you something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and come pray with me? You join Mother in a prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. You repeat after her just as she has taught you, ever since you were a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to you. Randolph, my son, you are 13 now, you'll be grown soon. It's time you learned about certain things that are important to our family. Difficult things. It's about your father and me, about our marriage. You gaze curiously in Mother's eyes. Sure, you've wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? You see, Randolph, your father, when his first wife Amalia Alborn died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all purpose. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. Nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humble and honored his lot to rule, but he took me by force. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Gloria is that nobleman's daughter, and he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with low-born progeny? He turned me out on the street with that little baby girl in my arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. You take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honor, nowhere to go. no one to help me. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. When Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believe that at that very moment the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me and maybe Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. Tears are running down Mother's cheek. And I knew it, my son, I knew how much his honor and reputation would suffer, but caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced another sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule and protect and care for others. But his decision to marry me, he's still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather, the founder of this bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumors we heard about the Brantes all over Anizati. It was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brante bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation. And now the noble families have all but forgotten about that scandal, thank the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at you intently. Do you understand what she is telling you? My son, I'm not telling you this just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage, Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante, even if the elder Brantes agreed. The news would stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society. If that were to happen, Randolph, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. Mother sighs heavily. What I told you just now is something you have to know, son. You're about to enter adult life, but my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family, but may I ask you a question? Now that you know all of this, do you still see Gloria as your sister? What? So if I accept Gloria as my sister, I get relationship? Oh man, really? I can't do that. I can't do that. Just for that nobility point, I have to distance myself from Gloria? No, I'm gonna accept her as my sister. I mean, come on. Oh man, that hits me in the feels. Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria is and will always be your sister. You want Gloria to be a Brante too. You want her to be a part of your family. Who cares what the nobles of Anizati say? Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Oh, Randolph, if only you knew how happy that would make me, to have her family united at last. However, the joy on her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert the debt I can never repay. He's given my daughter so much, a home and education, his care and advice. The Brante bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Just then you hear Gloria carefully knock at the door of Mother's chambers. Mother, Randolph, I couldn't find you. You happily greet your sister, yes, she is your sister. No old secrets can ever change that. Mother gives you and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. You and your sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by her bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brante family they have given her. You hope they can hear her. Okay, we gained some relationships with our mother and her sister. But man, what a rough choice that was. What a rough choice that was. And with that rough choice, I need to recover. I need to recover my own willpower. And I will put a cut in the episode right here. Thanks a lot for watching. If you're enjoying the content, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. And I will see you in the next episode.